squash. Okay, kind of wrinkly on the top, and the forehead bulges out, and the feet are very long, and the body is gray. In fact, this creature, if you look at an artist's rendition of this creature, it looks very much like an extraterrestrial gray that we see in contemporary culture.
Yeah.
It's just amazing the correlation between the two figures. And in fact, the name Masao, the word mas, means gray in Hopi.
Right.
So it has something to do with death and the underworld, the spirit world.
Yeah.
But Masao basically told the Hopi where to build the villages and what pattern to build these villages in.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I think that Masao is probably the terrestrial representation of the constellation Orion. The Hopi describe Masao as being able to travel across the entire Earth before morning comes. So this might be the way of saying that the Orion is traveling across the sky, rising in the east and setting in the west before morning arrives.
We up here kind of we have our idea of how Orion looks, so to speak. We have the belt, of course, and the head and the arms and the legs and so forth. Do you know if the Hopi depicts the deity in according to how the stars are laid out in a similar way, or do they do it in some other way?
Well, they call the Orion constellation Hotamkam, which means beads on a string, and this relates to the belt stars of Orion, or like beads on a string, or it's also a translation of mesas. So this idea of sky and earth is reflected again. The mesas form the belt of Orion. Like I said before, the Hopi live on 3 primary mesas. And these mesas are about 400 feet in height, and the villages are built both on top of the mesas and at the base of the mesas. During various times, the villages have been built and abandoned. But these 3 mesas have remained the kind of the center of the Hopi world, which they call Tawana Savi. It's the center of their cosmology. And the correspondence between the belt stars of Orion and these mesas are very strong. For instance, there's first, second, and third mesas, and they're separated by about 7 miles. Okay, and they go from east to west. For instance, the village of Orion, which is the oldest continuously inhabited community on the North American continent, it was established about 1100 A.D. And the people are still living up there, and they've been up there for nearly 1,000 years. In the old world, I guess that's not doesn't seem too old, but here in the new world, it's a very old settlement.
Yeah, indeed.
And this village of Orion corresponds to the belt star we call Mintaka. And really, there's 2 villages up there, Orion and Hotvilla, and these correspond. And Mintaka is a double star, so there's this duality there of Mintaka, the double star, corresponding to these 2 villages on what is called Third Mesa, which is the westernmost mesa.
Yeah.
There's a map on my website that listeners can go to and look at, which makes it a lot clearer, because I can describe the villages and so forth and how they correspond. But once you see the map, it's very, very clear. You could go to my website. It's theorionzone.com.
Yeah.
And then click on the maps link.
Mm-hmm.
You can pull up 3 different maps that I've provided for you, and you can see the correlation real easily there. And of course, the maps are in the book, which is the second edition of which is coming out in a couple weeks.
Excellent.
Adventures Unlimited Press.
Mm-hmm. So is it a lot of added information or updated or what?
The second edition is pretty much like the first. I've added an index and a bibliography, but there are a lot of photographs in the book. There are about over 50 photographs and diagrams and star charts.
Mm-hmm.
I went around to a lot of petroglyphs in the area, in this region, and photographed the petroglyphs of various things like entities that don't quite look human. They look rather insectoid. And the Hopi talk about the ant people, which we can do a little later.
Absolutely, yeah, and sure. And I'm looking at
this template or this pattern was established beginning around 1050 A.D.
Mm-hmm.
And it took until about 1300 A.D. for them to finish this pattern. Really, the first star that was established in the pattern was the star Scythe, which corresponds to Canyon de Chelly National Monument.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all places you can go to today and look at and see the ruins that they've established.
Yeah, and I will have Gary. I will have this link in connection to our this program, so people will be able to look at these maps as we go along here, and this is very interesting, as you say, because this obviously creates the pattern of, as you say, of the Orion constellation, and I mean, if we are to kind of get to the root of this, I mean, what do you think is the main purpose for why they did this? Is this kind of a ritual or to you know?
Well, I think that they wanted to honor this particular god, Masao.
Yeah.
Who was with them at the beginning of the migrations and accompanied them, and more or less told them where to stop and build villages. So, Masao was there, and he directed the establishment of this pattern, and the Hopi were just following with his will, and they wanted to honor this god. And this god is not a comfortable god. It's a rather frightening deity, really. If you look at the god, artists have made renditions of what the god looks like. As I said before, it looks a lot like an extraterrestrial gray. Now, I'm not saying that right off that the Hopi came from the stars or whatever, but I do have some information in the book that the Hopi do have a kind of a celestial link.
Yeah, indeed.
And Masao is one of these strong links. The underworld, of course, can be the world of the stars as well. As above, so below.
Yeah.
But I was just amazed at how exact the constellation is to the pattern that the Hopi established over a 250-year period.
So, do you think that that there is a guiding hand, I guess? Could it be extraterrestrial guiding? I mean, because there are a lot of other correlation, of course, around the Earth to other civilizations who have been talking about that there is another kind of this master race or quote gods that are telling the people, I guess more primitive. I don't know in this case if the Hopi back then were primitive in that sense, or if they were kind of connected to this. There is a main thesis that there was a more advanced ancient culture, and do you know if the Hopi kind of connects with this in any way?
Well, I'm not sure whether it was a physical extraterrestrial connection, or in the